All right.
Hi, everybody. This is Parent Coach Janet Bonnin welcoming you to another great Wise Parents, Wise Kids conversation. We're continuing our summer series with a great conversation with our special guest, Rachel Barrera. She is a San Antonio public librarian specializing in working with children. And we invited her on today to talk to us a little bit about how to help our kids love the library, foster a greater love of reading, encourage learning and curiosity, all kinds of wonderful things. You know, today's library is has got so much more available than most of us realize. And that was part of the reason I decided to ask her to come join us. So, Rachel, welcome to the conversation, and thank you for being our guest today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking me.
Would you share a bit about yourself before we get started in the conversation?
All right. My name is Rachel Barrera. I've been a librarian for 12 years. I'm also a mother of children ranging all the way from almost 18 to almost 4. So I've got a lot of 3 of them all spread out. I became a children's librarian quite by accident. I was actually thinking that I was going to be an academic librarian, but I had a lot of experience with children previously. And so when I got the opportunity to go to Dallas to become a children's librarian, I took it, worked at Central there for a while, moved on to administration and realized I really missed working with the kids, moved back to San Antonio with my family, and worked at Central for a while, and now I work at one of the branches, Brook Hollow, 281 in Brook Hollow. So
great. So we've got just a quick amount of time to share a lot of great information, so why don't we just kind of go ahead and dive in.
Sure.
My first question for you is, what are some of the things that families can do in the libraries these days? I know that there's more and more available.
More and more. One of the things I wanted to mention, because it's something that people might not know about, is a lot of our locations offer a family fun program. And that's a program that's meant for the entire young family to attend. And it incorporates books and stories in with different activities, usually a craft or something that the entire family can do together. I particularly recommend the family fun at the Central Library on Saturdays because it's a great fun destination outing. We're going downtown, we're going to the Central Library, and while you're there, there's the opportunity to explore a lot of the art, the wonderful public art we have there, and it's just a great place to look around. So I really think that that's a great way to kind of make the trip to the library exciting and adventurous, is, making it a destination for the day.
And it becomes quite an outing when you're able to go to a different location, go to this library has a lot to offer as far as a number of different floors and a whole lot of books and things. Plus, you mentioned the art, plus the opportunity for family members to all come together and do something as a family. And sometimes, in spite of our best efforts, we're not so good at all of us doing something together at the same time, right?
Exactly. And even if you've got teens in your family that might not be so interested in the family fun, they have a great teen area that's just for teens 13 to 18. So even if they're not with you, maybe they're there in spirit. So.
And so you're together when you get to the library. You might split up a little bit, but then you can come back together and do some stuff. And that just sounds fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Oh, let's look at it.
Yeah, and the next thing I wanted to mention that's just a little bit different that some people might not know about the library is that we offer some programs called Play and Learn. Play and Learns are mainly headed up by our early literacy folks called Little Red Wagons, spelled R-E-A-D, like read. They offer these programs around the city all year long, and many locations offer them periodically. I myself here at the Brook Hollow branch offer Play and Learn programs every month throughout the school year. What they do is they concentrate on practicing the 5 practices of early literacy, which is reading, talking, singing, writing, and playing. Those are the 5 things that we need to do with our young children every day to ensure that by the time they get to kindergarten, they have the best chance of learning to read quickly and their future academic success. So what we generally do is have different stations put around the library. We do usually a very short story time, and then the caregivers and their children can move around the library together, interact with one another, doing different activities. There's usually some STEM activities, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, games, crafts. We do a lot of things with stickers. You never think about peeling off a sticker, how great that is for your fine motor skills, which we talk about with writing. And we have dramatic play, and it's just a really fun thing for families to do together with young children.
So again, that's reading, talking, singing, writing, and playing.
Yes, every single day we need to do all those things.
And that's fantastic. And so, too, again, if people haven't thought about doing all 5 of these, coming and doing it at the library can help an adult caregiver, whether that's a parent or someone else, become more comfortable doing those kind of activities, and they might be more likely to do them outside the library with the children too, right?
You're just more conscious of the things that I call it kind of thoughtfully doing it. You're thinking, oh, we're singing now. That's wonderful. You're putting real thought in it. So I like that.
And for those little ones who like to be moving around, having the stations, you're moving from station to station. There's a lot of activity there too.
You're there, or your child might like one thing. For some reason, pouring pinto beans out of a cup is the best thing that you've ever done. But your child's going to gravitate to one thing. So that's also interesting to know.
And in having the stations, that also reminds me of the Montessori educational techniques. They love to have centers and things where kids can choose to move from activity to activity, and it engages the child's body and mind better that way.
Exactly.
So Red Wagon, the early literacy program, that's all around the city.
Yes, they're stationed at Central, but they do training for caregivers. That's their primary purpose, and then they also do play and learns as well around the city. But they do focus entirely on early literacy. And I just wanted to mention quickly here, I think play and learn can be really important to fill a gap that we have now this is a personal opinion I have about learning to read, kids expected to read in kindergarten. Before, I think historically, kindergarten was time to play and do all of that play that kids really do need in order to have a greater understanding of the world around them, which is one of the only other indicator besides number of words a child hears that indicates their academic success. So I think doing this kind of thing really helps fill that gap when your kid goes to kindergarten and they're learning to read right away. So I think it's super important nowadays.
Okay.
We go moving on.
I know there's more you want to talk about.
Well, we have story times all over the city, but most people are pretty familiar with regular story times. You've probably been to them at some point in your life. We have them for every age group, though. We have them for preschoolers, for toddlers. Some locations even offer a toddler 2 program, which is for a little bit older toddlers. So they have one for the 18 to 2-year-olds and the 18-month to 2-year-olds, one for a little older. But we also have a few different programs. We have a kids time, which is for kind of those early school age kids. They're sort of left out. They're sort of they're at that awkward age where they still want books. They still want picture books, but they also want to do a little bit more grown-up activities. They're more independent story times where they work on crafts or other activities, other STEM activities perhaps that support the story. We also have tween times for those kids 9 to 12. With tween times, generally, we focus on, as a system, basically just keeping the children welcome at the library. We know we lose a lot of kids at this age. There starts being less and less things for them to do. Their parents aren't making them go to the library as much anymore. And so we try to make it a real fun place to hang out. So when we do tween time, it's more of a hangout. But we also know that we want kids to feel like people that are comfortable around books. If kids aren't intimidated by being around books, not just being in the library, but just having books around,
Yes.
they're less likely to get that anxiety that some children feel when it comes to reading. So we just want them here. If they don't read a book for 2 months, great. But at least when it comes time for them to do that, they don't feel intimidated. So
Excellent.
that's Discovery Time. Discovery Time is a science and math-based program for young children, kinder and second graders, where they're just learning those early numeracy skills and scientific method from the earliest point. And again, we're talking about that knowledge of how our world works, getting that knowledge for future academic success. And we also, right now, we're doing our summer reading program. We have that every year, where we have lots of great special events that kind of get people excited about coming to the library as a family. We have magicians, we have wild live animals, we have all sorts of things. But then we also have our summer reading program that you can sign up for. Kids read 8 books in the summer, and they get to
8 or more if they choose to read more, right?
We want them to read more, 8 or more books during the summer if they're reading on their own, and they get to come and they get to pick out a brand new book to keep.
Excellent, excellent. So the Discovery Time, part of what I was thinking when I heard you talking about that is we know how important it is for our kids to learn about all the STEM areas, especially science, technology, engineering, and math. That's what it stands for, right? But having Discovery Time from a young age kind of helps encourage children to really relate math and science to what's going on around the world. And the younger they are, but when they start being exposed to this, not necessarily learning about it, but learning about it, but being exposed to it, the more they're going to find it to be very natural to think about numbers, to think about what is gravity, to think about concepts that they will later be learning and using in their lives.
And again, I think it's that intimidation thing. They think, science. And then even a parent can say, oh, no, but we do science all the time. Science isn't hard. Remember when we learned about gravity? That's one of the programs we do. You know, it just, oh, yeah, I can do science.
Excellent. And the summer reading program, one of the stories I know I shared with you in the prior, when we were talking before this, was that growing up, my mother would make sure every summer to take myself and my sisters to the library on a regular basis in the summer, the public library. And as soon as summer started, she'd bring us over there, and we could check out something like 10 books at a time and keep them for 2 weeks. Yes. And we'd run through that library, pick out a whole bunch of books, go home and read them, and then we'd come back a couple weeks later and trade them in for more. And one of my fondest memories of something that I really enjoyed doing was getting a new book from the library, taking it home and reading it. That was just part of my definition of a great summer. And it helped me learn to love reading. It helped me to expand my horizons. And it also built this wonderful memory and attachment to libraries and books, just because she made time to do that.
Yes, and that's definitely right on point. If we go into the next slide, I don't know what the next one was. It is what I was about to say.
Go ahead.
What we try to do here at San Antonio Library, as children's librarians in particular, is to create a joyful connection between the child and the library in particular. Because like you said, you have such a joyous, fond memory of the library. Therefore, you don't have an intimidation about books, and you developed a love of reading because it was exciting for you. We want kids to associate going to the library and reading with really fun times, maybe with a connection with a parent that they didn't often get to spend quality time with. Or it could be the reverse. It could be a safe a time away from a home that might not be as comfortable as they would like it to be. Whatever it is, whatever that specific child needs, we want to be that place for them. So we try to offer lots of different ways for it to be that place for them. So if a kid is into art, we have those kind of activities. We have group reading programs, where we have like the story times. And then, like you said, summer reading, the individual reading challenges. If you're more withdrawn, you might like that. And then lots of family activities. So whatever helps make that time joyous to the child, that's what we want to do here at San Antonio.
Just fantastic. And wow, what a difference from when I was growing up, where a library was a wonderful place, but what an incredible variety of offerings libraries of today have. And didn't you mention too, or did we discuss this, what's your opinion about doing books that are on, that are audiobooks?
Well, audiobooks
develop reading skills and interests.
Audiobooks are books, and we need to start realizing that. Some children don't have maybe the same capacity to read as other children, but listening to books is a great way, particularly with comprehension, to really develop that skill for later on when testing kind of becomes an issue. So we say if you listen to a book, for instance, in summer reading, that counts as one of your books. You write it down. Listening is reading. So to me.
Fantastic.
I don't know if agrees. All right.
Let me ask this. What are some of your best tips for parents of different age readers?
Okay. Well, number one is words. Just talk, talk, talk. Say a lot of words. The more words your child hears before kindergarten, and the greater his future academic success. It's just a fact. It's actually one of the only true facts that we know about academic success and early learning. So
there's also a huge connection between a love of reading and future academic success, right?
There is, in the sense, but the reason that we know, well, scientifically, the reason that we can connect that is because when someone loves reading, they're reading more and they're being exposed to more different words and more different concepts. So, it all ties together, but that's at least something that we can say as librarians, where we rarely have just strong data. No, this is the reason. So it's good to be able to say that. So words, words, words. I do find parents coming into the library and saying, this book isn't right for my child. He doesn't know what this means. Do not worry about that. I have never done a story time with an unusual word in it where the kids said, wait, Miss Rachel, stop. I don't know what that word means. I don't know the word ferocity, which is one that I used in a story the other day. They're never going to say that. The fact is, they heard me say that word ferocity. They put it in context. They knew what it had to do with the story. And that little seed is planted in their brain. They're going to have that forever.
Excellent.
So and let your child, when you come to the library, pick their own books. You talked about being excited about going to the library and getting your book and taking it home. That's great. And that's the feeling we want the kids to have. Let them pick out a book. Even if you look at it and just go, oh, I'm the one that's going to have to read that. It's going to be terrible. Don't worry about it. Just get it. What a lot of my parents do around here is they will put some books on hold, which you can do at the library, to have them waiting for them when they get there, maybe 8 books, and then let their child pick out 2 on their own. That way they have some that they've researched that they know their child might like, but then their child gets to pick out a couple too. So that's
which is great too for any children who have trouble making decisions, because picking just a couple books is a lot easier than saying, okay, you can pick 10, which I loved back then, but I was older at the time.
Yeah.
That also brings up a thought to me, because I had a reluctant reader, one of mine, when he was really young and just kind of getting started. The idea of being able to pick the books he or she wants to read. We got into this series being a very young, a little boy, not real young, but elementary. He liked a series called Captain Underpants, which is a funny comic about a superhero that wears underpants when he's a superhero. But anyway, it's really cute.
Yes, diaper babies is arch. So let your kid pick it. If it seems silly to you, don't worry about that. Also, don't get hung up on reading levels. Unless you're really working towards a significant learning gap and you're really, really working towards that, there is absolutely no reason to get hung up on that. It doesn't matter. The more your child reads, the better. I have big kids reading Captain Underpants. They're enjoying it, spending time with them. We cannot, down that. Stuff he reads, he's going to read more. And that's, That's what matters.
And I can even remember, back to the reluctant reader, we kind of wove, as he was learning to read, we wove the required reading in, because of school, the required reading in with some of the books he was really enjoying, and it helped make the whole experience more enjoyable for him.
It's more enjoyable. And on kind of the same note, don't give up on picture books too soon. It's one of my great tips. They actually help a child's comprehension, which is the thing that we really, really fall behind on testing wise. I'm not a big proponent of testing, but that's a fact.
Yeah.
Chapter books are great, but you really have to have that firm foundation of the picture book, which kind of shows the progression of a story. They can imagine a story. As mature readers, we really imagine things in our head, and we want to really get that root into our children. Also, picture books have a much, much more advanced vocabulary than early chapter readers.
And I wish I had known that when my children were younger. I wasn't aware of that piece. I can see now, as you're describing it, how it encourages the children to be more creative within the story if they're looking at the pictures, because you can discuss what you see going on and what do you think he's thinking, or that kind of thing. And but also the fact, I didn't realize studies show that really does help with their comprehension, and I wasn't aware of that. So tell us about older tweens and teens.
Older tweens and teens, they just need to know, they just need a bunch of options, because at that point they're basically adults almost. And they're starting to have a real firm opinion about what they want and what they don't want. So we just want them to have such an option so that they interact more with the book or an electronic book than with video games, basically.
And then again, in wanting to be able to go places, a library is a wonderful, welcoming place that is calming and quiet, and there's not so much screen stuff going on, screen time, as the opportunity to pull a good book and sit down and really lose yourself in it. So that's.
And we also want teens and tweens to really start developing relationships with people that also share their interests. And so that's what we try to do with our programming, is to introduce them to different people.
So what are some resources you can share?
Yes, definitely just start with our website, mysapl.org. It's the best place to start. For kids, you're going to find we do offer tutor.com, free online tutoring every single day. As for myself, after about 4th grade, I can't really help with math anymore. It's been so long since I took it. But tutor.com is free with your library card, so you'll need to get everybody a library card for that reason alone. They proofread essays. They help. They have little different tests that you can take to evaluate your strengths and weaknesses. We have test prep software in databases where if you're getting ready to take the SAT or something like that, you can do that for free with your library card.
Again, something I didn't realize. So everybody who's listening, go get yourself a library card and help your kids get access to that tutor.com. That's powerful.
Yes, that is. I mean, tutor.com does the tutoring. I think it's Learning Center does the testing, but it's wonderful. It keeps track of your progress and helps you like that. And there's also many different things for careers for adults, career advancement and computer classes and things like that. So that's wonderful.
Wow.
I encourage parents to explore just different options, different book lists. I know a lot of people know Goodreads, which is wonderful, but there's some other things out there like guysread.com, which I use a lot for boys. Boys tend to read less. They tend to progress much less quickly in their reading, and they tend to quit reading at an earlier age as soon as they don't aren't required to anymore. Guysread.com provides a lot of great book lists for different age readers that are guys, so that a lot of Captain Underpants, who is the author of many books and also of this website, he always says, he never wanted to read, Little House on the Prairie because he needed something to happen. So all of his books, it's just something happens, something happens, something happens. And he says that's what guys want. So it's wonderful.
There you go. So he's writing four guys.
Right.
There's a lot of other great websites out there if parents just go and check, and they can, check your gut, go check it, see if you think it feels safe and all of that. But research, I know there's got to be other great resources out there.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being our guest. This has been fantastic. I hope to share this not only this summer, but in summers in the future, because this information is timeless, parents, and let's get inspired and let's make a habit and a wonderful tradition of getting to our libraries and sharing a love of reading with our kids.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, everybody, this wraps up the end of our show. Thank y'all for listening, for being part of this. My company's Fine Tune Families. You can find us on the web at finetunefamilies.com. There's some links to connect with me from Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You can also find those links through my website if you want to visit that. Watch out for it. Connect with me in some way, because we have more Wise Parents, Wise Kids conversations coming up that I know will help you parent smarter, build communication skills within the family, build connection, all kinds of wonderful things. Thank y'all for your time. Take care and bye.
Bye.